Cyrano de Bergerac.
Halt! Who goes there?
Bergerac, you idiot.
As usual, they called you all right. Shh. Not wounded yet?
They've got in the habit of missing me.
Risking your life before breakfast to post a letter, it's mad. Not, of course, that there isn't any breakfast.
A vow is a vow, a promise is a promise. I promised his wife, as I must call her, that he would speak to her by post if he couldn't speak on the pillow. Pale as a ghost, poor devil, starving to death.
We all are.
Yes, but he seems to show it more than most. Not only that poor dear child could see him now. Pale, wan, wasted. Still handsome, though.
You'd better get some sleep.
What is it? Oh, it's sticky. Makes me not half as much as he makes me.
Sick, eh? Yeah. You're not the only ones with a lace collar under his corselet.
Yeah, with the little coutier. Very much the nephew of the cardinal.
Nevertheless, to be grandiloquent, he is one of Gascony's sons.
Counterfeit. The real Gascons, us, are a bit mad. He's a bit too sane, rational. The reasonable Gascons, dangerous.
He's pale, at least he shows that common touch.
No one doubts he feels the pain of hunger like us, poor bastards. But those jewels on his belt make the crampsons got glitter, like the sun glittering on ice.
Do you want him to see you suffering? Get out your dice, your playing cards, smoke your pipes. Try and look as if you enjoy this famine. I will read this book. Ragueneau's Rhymed Recipes.
Whatever happened to Ragueneau? There's been no news, no letters, only the odd rumor of this and that from Paris.
His generous nature multiply ruined Ragueneau. That musketeer swine run off with his wife. He would rather wine and dine poets than look after his business, and this book has put him in a sort of a purgatory. Not quite the hell of the cook, nor yet the poet's heaven. Cost him quite a bit to publish. He's made nothing out of it.
Poor devil.
Good morning. If that was meant for me, I can do without your sarcastic sympathy. Black looks as usual, eh? All right, gentlemen, I'm well aware I am not popular. As for your resentment, I put that down to jealousy. Your conduct under fire apparently cannot compare with mine in any way. How many of you squatting on your haunches could do the thing I did yesterday? I lashed the Count de Becquois out of Bapaume. Pouring my men on ease in avalanches, I charged 3 times.
Yes, but you failed to bring back your white scarf.
So it's already got around, that story, has it? It happened like this. When it was time for the third charge and I was rallying my men, to my astonishment, I suddenly found I was being thrust with a throng of fugitives into the enemy's lines. That enemy gives no quarter. I was in danger of being shot. So, what did I do? I thought quickly. I got rid of the white scarf that marks my rank. And thus, anonymous, inconspicuous, blank, I escaped and rallied my own force. Yes, that worked well. From the brink of death to a crash of victory. What do you say, my friend, to that little display of resourcefulness?
This. A man's white plume is his panache. It is his visible soul. It is not a thing to lend or spend. Henri of Navarre, Henri the first king of France, outnumbered in the enemy's advance, never even dreamed of jettisoning his.
But the point is, my device was a success.
Yes. But then an officer never resigns easily the privilege of being a target for his enemies. Now, the difference between your courage and mine is this, monsieur. Had I been present at this heroic affair, seeing you drop your scarf, I would have picked it up then and there and worn it myself.
Always boasting.
No. You lend it to me tonight, and I will lead the charge with your white scarf over my shoulder.
Oh, these large but vacuous Gasconades. You're safe as you know as that offer. Our intelligence understands that sector still lies in the enemy's hands, and my scarf on the riverbank. The river is swept by the artillery. No one could ever reach that scarf alive.
Indeed. Lessons for you, monsieur.
I must confess for a second, a split second, but then I knew, of course, I should have reckoned with your heavy-handed Gascon substitute for humor. I could take a joke, I guess, as well as the next man. A letter, eh, from Paris, so the courier got through. Ah, from the cardinal, play that on your flute. My uncle, his eminence. You and your mutton-fat nobility. Convent of Capuchins, that fool of a... What are you sniffing at?
Odor of sanctity. Is that some new Parisian perfume? Oh. I almost forgot. With my compliments.
Thank you. This bit of white will do well to make a signal.
Signal?
A signal that, to tell the truth, I was hesitant about making, but now you have kindly made up my mind for me.
Look! Over there, there's a man running away!
Taking my signal with him, my pet Spanish spy.
Spy?
Yes, he tells his masters what I pay him to tell him.
A traitor?
Yes, I suppose so. But a very useful traitor. Now, what was it we were talking about? Oh, yes, you may as well know our marshal's plan. You might find it interesting. Last night, we saw an opportunity at last, with reasonable luck, of revictualling the army. In silence and covered by a good black night, the marshal marched to Toulon, where our supplies are. There's a fair chance we reach them. But, to be sure of getting back in safety, he's had to take an exceptionally large force with him. A good half of our army is absent from the camp.
Good thing the enemy don't know that.
Oh, but they do. They do. They are going to attack us. My spy, a very reliable and pliable spy who tells me everything, asked me where I would prefer the Spanish attack to be made. My reply was that you should go out between the lines and watch for my signal. That point should be the point of the Spanish advance.
You mean?
I mean, gentlemen, this is all for you.
Very well. Let's get ready!
Another hour.
Another hour, good.
As you will all doubtless have understood, the aim is to gain time. We are not sure when the marshal will return.
And to gain this time,
You will all be so good as to lay down your lives.
Would it be reasonable to call this revenge?
I won't pretend, I have never pretended, never will, that I care the least damn for any of you. But since you all consider you're no end of fine, brave warriors, and this is hard to do, admittedly, leaving out the personal, you are the obvious choice. If you take that to mean that I serve my king by serving my own spleen, I won't contradict you.
Well, that's candid. May we offer you our thanks, monsieur.
You whose bliss it is to engage 100 men or so single-handed, should be rather looking forward to this.
There are, as you know, 6 chevrons in the arms of old Gascony, 6 blue and gold. Tonight there will be a 7th, and you do not need me to tell you what the color has to be. Christian.
Roxanne,
I know.
I should like to say goodbye to her. To put my whole heart
In a letter? I thought of that.
Let me see.
Are you sure you want to?
Why not? I'm supposed to have written it. What?
Yes.
This circle.
Circle.
To me, it looks very much like a tear.
Oh? Oh. Well, you know how it is. The poet writes a poem. Sometimes he's moved by his own fiction. I must admit, I've written a very moving letter. I tried not to be moved, but I was moved. I was moved to tears.
You mean to say you cried?
Yes, I cried. And why not? Ulysses cried, Ajax cried. It's in the very best heroic tradition. To die is little enough, even to die in the hot morning of youth. But to never again see the beloved, that is horrible. And the horrible bare truth is that we,
Paletaragano, listen
you,
to
I
this.
mean,
Marinate your fowl for many hours in claret on whose surface like the flowers that strew upon after a summer storm float herbs whose various succulence inform the tender chicken flesh and dew Ambrosial promise in a nectar brew. Oh, God.
Low poetry, huh? But haute cuisine?
It's her voice that I hear. The music, I mean, not the words. I have no ear to hold the rhythm of just words, only the music. But a man can't die remembering music. He needs a solidity. Love. You mean a single word of love? Surely she could have written. Surely she could have used some womanish trick to cheat the band on private messages. Surely she knows some man or other in high places.
If we can't eat, we can't get letters. Our isolation is complete.
I remember a dinner of oreganos. It was a summer evening, violet and rose, with roses on the table. We started with lobster bisque, flaming with cognac, shirking crouton, sizzling from the pan. A dinner, Mary? The wine, the flowers.
Disgusting! Ignoble to dream of food at a time like this when you are half an hour off death. Think tougher thoughts. Be a man. Sacré Dieu. Je les ai mille deux. I thought you were Gascons. Capto Dios!
Santo Dios! Behold the Gascon under all that veneer! Embrace him! Thump him! Welcome him to the fold! Just as I thought. This nose was never a mere ornament. That perfume of hers was real. It was not a ghostly thing conjured by hunger. It's real. It's hers. And it's here. Ah, that night, my words, the avowal, the ring.
Psst. Give it to me. This tremor, love, hunger, fear. That swine!
It was a sort of a Gascon trick after all. The name of the sender here is General Fauconnier. How come she chose that name?
He knew my father. She knew he knew.
Clever enough. She knew this letter would get through to you despite the guiche. Oh, but the high-ranking officer would never use a perfume like this of hers.
Help me to hold it. These hands of mine are frantic, as if with ague.
She writes very well. A little schoolgirlish, perhaps, a bit romantic, over poetic.
You are impossible.
My dearest, how can I hope to match the wonder of your letters? Even catch one little spark and set my own alight, with something of the ardor from that bright spirit of yours which outbraves the brave flesh. I read them, reread them, so fresh, so new, dewy, clean as the morning. They are the sun that rises on me every day, and outshine the moon's luster.
What's that about every day? Surely she does not get a letter every day.
Oh, but I read, the reread. But the time has come to open what was hid. You have written a great deal more than you thought you did.
I see.
I knew I loved you from that night. Your soft voice fanned my heart and set alight a sleeping passion.
A mixed metaphor?
To hell with the style.
This month or more, behold, a miracle. It is as though, reading your letters, I sense that vibrant, low sweetness of the dark enveloping me, breathing an essential spirituality.
Spiritual.
Read on.
Reading, I sway, I swoon, liquid as vapor drawn up by the moon.
The liquid is liquid, and vapor is vaporous. She can't say that.
For God's sakes, don't fuss with these horrible niceties.
Every page is a flower, falling from your bounteous spirit's bower, in sweetness, light, and odor. I sense the power of a great love sincere, oh so sincere. I fall before it knowing, my dear, that you will raise me. But the heart that falls in abject adoration, though it calls, crushed by love's burden, cannot be raised. It cries, forgive me, dearest. Let me veil my eyes in anguish. Tell me how I can atone the sin that lies upon me like a stone, the insult of loving you for your beauty alone.
Oh God.
Later I learned, just as a bird learns how to fly, to feel my spirit stirred by the totality of you, body and soul, loving the two together. But the goal of true love should be elsewhere.
What's that she loves now?
You, the essential you. The free being who lives beneath the casual dress of flesh I loved you for at first. But with wisdom, with most patient care, you showed me that in words, your words, the key lay that would reveal your heart. I see that first fair specious image now no more.
I don't like this one bit.
What I loved before was a mere bubble. Now I love a soul.
I'd like to be loved as people usually are, with a bit of body as well.
Now comes the crux.
Henceforth, I shall find distractions in your looks. Your beauty is a barrier to you. If you are ugly, twisted, all askew, dwarfish, deformed, I know I should love you all the more. The greater good needs not the lesser good.
That capuchin whose robe she used to wrap this letter in with Richelieu as an overcoat? That priest has been teaching her theology.
At least we know where we stand at last. She doesn't love me anymore.
Oh, I cannot think. The burden of this letter is too heavy.
She loves you. She loves my soul. You are my soul.
All too true.
And you love her.
I?
Don't play the fool. I know.
That too is true. I do love her.
Well, go and claim her, man. She's yours.
Impossible. Look at me. Look at my ugliness.
Oh, hell. You've read the letters. You know all too well she means what she says. Who am I to ruin your happiness? I'm a non-entity, cursed with a pretty face.
Must I ruin yours because I have a gift of words?
Oh, tell her. Go back and tell her.
Caricature of caricatures. Deformed, ugly, dwarfish, grotesque. Oh, mon Dieu, could that be taken to include...
I'm on the rack with being my own rival.
Oh, come now.
I want to be loved for what I am. Comely and dumb, or else not loved at all. Can you not see? Clever as you are, this basic simplicity. As for our marriage, that was really a fraud. No witnesses, clandestine. Oh dear Lord, unconsummated. It can be annulled.
Oh, get thee behind me. That marriage of yours will hold to the last trump. This whole discussion is academic. We are both going to die.
No, you must live. You must go back to her. Make your escape somehow. No one will ever try to accuse you, of all men, of cowardice.
Let me out, man! Come on!
That final letter, put your name to it. It will reach her. Whatever happens, she must know the old story.
Deformed, Roxana? Really ugly? Grotesque? Hold on, Christian! Christian! Oh no! Now you have all her love.
Roxana!
It was your soul she wanted. Now there's not much else. I die with you. And she, without knowing it, must mourn for me.
Listen! The signal! The army has come back, supplies and all! Hold on a little while!
Oh, we are cracking up! They got me twice!
Ardi! Recule padrolo! Don't worry. Captain, I have two deaths to avenge. Christian's and my own.
Coming over!
Then we shall salute them! Attack!
We are
The Gascony Cadet! Captain LeBray, there is Archie! There is the storm!
admired her new coif in the mirror twice.
That seems less a sin and more an aesthetic error. There's not much to admire there. Very plain.
We've had ourselves one tilt, so let us have another. Sister Matt is a thief of another. She stole plum from the plum pie when the cook got her back turned.
May it give you a pain. Thou shalt not steal.
It was a very small plum.
My look in the mirror was very small.
Two looks.
It seems I shall have to complain to Monsieur de Bergerac. He's expected here this evening, even though it grieves him to hear of your sins.
Please, you mustn't do that. You know he'll only make fun of us.
He'll say nuns are greedy.
Frivolous.
But also good. However harshly he begins, he always finishes by saying that nuns are also good. Good.
It must be 10 or 11 or a dozen years since he started his Saturday visits.
More. He's been coming here ever since his cousin came here to live. 14 years since that sore, sad loss, since she brought her worldly widow's weeds to, as he puts it, offset our virgin lilies. He's very poetical, very poetical. He once called her a black dove amongst grounded seagulls.
His skill is all in worldly things. Was he ever in love, I wonder? Such a gentleman, yet he leads a very aggressive life. He said to me once that there was a kind of panache in virgin vows. What did he mean?
I think I understand. I think he means the white plume of celibacy. He once wrote a poem about it. How does it go?
He's witty. He's the only one who can make her smile.
Very droll. And he likes our cakes.
It's a pity he's not a very good Catholic.
We'll convert him in time.
Oh, no, I forbid you to meddle with his soul. His soul is his own. Besides, if you annoy him, he may stop coming to visit.
But how about God?
Rest easy. God, being omniscient, knows all about Monsieur de Bergerac's soul.
There's not one Saturday where I cannot remember him saying, "Ah, dear sister," and in that proud sort of way, too. "Ah, dear sister, I ate meat yesterday."
Really, I'd be more ready to praise than blame if it were true. The last time he came to see us, he had not eaten for 3 days.
Oh, no.
Oh, he's poor. Very poor.
Who told you so?
Monsieur Lepre.
Apart from things like prayer, why did somebody help him?
Oh, nobody dare. Oh, I think we must go in now. Madame Magdalene has a visitor.
Is that the Duc de Gramont, the Marshal?
I think so.
It's been a long, long while since he came to see her.
It's busy, I suppose. The court, the camp.
The world.
God knows how you can bring yourself to deprive men's eyes of all that golden beauty. You plan to remain here forever in mourning?
Forever.
Ever faithful?
Faithful. My future lies among the faithful.
Have you forgiven me?
I'm here. That has to mean I've forgiven you.
Christian, was he really so...
If you only knew him.
I didn't know him. I didn't particularly want to know him. That last letter of his, do you still wear it next to
Still
you?
and forever. Like a sacred relic.
I'll never understand such a sterile devotion.
But to me, he isn't really dead. It's as if we still meet in some special region, sustained only by love, not devotion. Living love. Love between the living.
Do you still see much of the man that brought the letter home?
Cyrano? Oh, yes. My old friend acts as my gazette, my weekly periodical, out on Saturday. I sit and wait and do my embroidery. The clock strikes, and on the last stroke, I hear his step and his stick tapping on the stone steps. He is so regular. I never turn to see. First he laughs at me for what he likes to call my Penelope Web, and then he retails the chronicles of the week, and there's Lebre. Lebre, how's our friend?
Not well at all.
He's exaggerating.
It's just as I say, just as I've always said. It's this wretchedness, this loneliness. He writes these satires of his, determined to make more and more enemies. He attacks false saints, false nobles. False heroes, plagiaristic poets, in fact, more or less everyone. It's no life for anyone.
Everyone goes in terror of that sword of his. That's one thing. No one dares to touch him.
That may be so.
It's not the violence I fear, it's this loneliness. As I said, it's ravening December with the wolves at its heels, battering down the door of his dark hovel.
This is the world. This is how the world goes. He takes what comes. Don't pity him too much.
My Lord Marshal.
Don't pity him, I say. He lives his life as he wants. He is one of those rare animals that is opted to be free.
My Lord Duke.
I know I have everything and he has nothing, save that one thing. Nevertheless, I think I would be proud to shake him by the hand. Now I must go.
I'll go with you as far as the gate.
I think I envy him. Yes, envy him. There is such a thing as success that sickens like excess. Pride bloats to more pride. Power never rests.
I must say, this sentiment does you honor.
Oh, yes, Lebre, permit us a brief word. It is true, no one dares attack your friend, not openly. But the hate grows and hate will find a way. I think you ought to warn him. The other day at court, one of his haters said to me, the Bergerac may die accidentally.
I see.
I hope you see. Tell him, stay at home and be careful.
Be careful. Whatever I say, he treads his own path. He's coming here today. Very well, I'll warn him, but I don't know if it would...
Yes, what is it?
This man, Bergerac, would like a word with you.
Very well, send him to me. I suppose he's come for sympathy. A dram to warm him on the long, cold, downward road. The things he's done. Pastry cook, poet, singer,
Bathhouse attendant,
actor,
parish beadle,
hairdresser,
teacher of guitar.
Poor man, with his fortunes always in the descendant. What next, I wonder?
Dear Madame, dear Sir.
First, tell your troubles, if troubles they are, to Monsieur Lebré. I'll be back.
But Madame! Oh, God. I went to see him just now. Our friend, I mean. He was just coming out of his house. I hurried on to meet him, but he was walking too quickly. At the corner of the street, there's his upper window. He was passing under it. A servant. I saw it was a servant. Then a chunk of wood drop, a great heavy log fall.
On top of...
I ran up to him as quickly as I could.
What are you trying to say?
He was lying there on the ground with a great gash in him.
Dead!
Just about alive. I had to carry him up to his room. Have you ever seen his room?
Is he suffering?
No, he doesn't feel anything. He feels nothing.
Did you get a doctor?
I got a doctor to come out of charity.
We mustn't tell her, not all at once. What did he say? The doctor, what did he say?
Meningeal fever, a lesion of something or other. Oh, if you had seen him lying there, all bandages. But you will. Now, of course, right away. We must go quickly. He's all alone there. If he tries to get up, and he will, I know he will. He may.
Oh, through the chapel. This is the shorter way. Go.
Monsieur Lebré! Going after I've called him? Regano, poor man must have been unusually pathetic. A pillow for my old friend.
The best in all of our parlor.
Thank you. Ah? The last strike, the hour. That's strange. I've never known him to be late before. Perhaps that nun who was always trying to convert him is trying again. I've never known him to be as late as this. He ought to be converted by now.
Madame, here he is. Monsieur de Bergerac.
These old faded colors, difficult to match them. Late for the first time, Cyrano, after 14 years?
Maddening, I know. Makes me mad. Forgive me, please. I was detained, I'm afraid.
Well?
An unexpected visitor.
Was it a tiresome visitor?
Very tiresome.
Did you send him away?
For the time being. I told him that today is Saturday, and on Saturday I have a regular engagement. I asked him to please do me the favor to return in an hour or so.
He'll have to wait some time. I shan't let you go before dark.
It's just possible, I'm afraid I may have to go a little before it's dark. My apologies.
You're neglecting your duties, Cyrano. Here is somebody waiting to be teased.
Yes. Come here, sister. You of those beautiful downcast eyes. I have a confession to make. I ate meat again yesterday. Isn't that terrible?
Yes, terrible. And as a penance, you must come to the refectory later and have a nice big bowl of bouillon.
I'll be there.
You're becoming quite reasonable, monsieur.
At last you've broken his obstinate soul. Now's the time to convert him.
No. That is something I mustn't do.
And something that in all of these years you have never tried to do. Bursting with holiness like a spiritual plum, and yet you never preach. Astonishing. Well, I'm going to astonish you, sister. I am going to let you pray for me.
Look at her.
Tonight at Vespers.
Struck absolutely dumb.
Monsieur, you forget one advantage of my profession. I do not need to ask your permission before I pray for you.
Well, there is one thing everybody can be sure about, and that is that I will never see how that particular piece of work turns out.
I was wondering how long it would be before you said that.
You know, the year unweaves her tapestry. Look at them.
Such color. Perfect Venetian reds. They'll be falling fast soon.
They fall well, with a kind of panache. They plume down in their last loveliness, disguising their fear of being dried and pounded to ash to mix with the common dust. They go in grace. They make their fall appear like flying.
You're melancholy today.
Oh, never that. I am not the melancholy sort.
Very well. We'll let the leaves of the fall fall while you turn the leaves of my gazette. What's new in court?
Well, let me see. Saturday the 19th, the king grew ill after eating too much preserved ginger. 8 helpings, to be exact. The court decreed that it was high treason to so distress the royal viscera, and there and then the offending ginger was condemned to death, and the royal pulse slowed to normal once again. Sunday the 20th, the queen gave a grand ball, and they burned 1,763 wax candles. Ooh, a bishop went to heaven.
Oh.
Well, so it's rumored. There's been as yet no report of his safe arrival. The Madame d'Artis's dog, he's sort of a miniature canine Madame d'Artis, was given an enema.
Monsieur de Bergerac, that will do. Cyrano?
Yes? What is it? It's nothing at all. It's just my old wound from a rash. It likes to sting sometimes to remind me that it's still there.
My poor dear friend.
Ooh, it doesn't last. It will go soon. There, you see? It's gone.
We all of us have our old wounds. Mine is here, on yellowed paper. Blood stains, tear stains, hardly legible.
His letter? Didn't you tell me that one day you'd let me read it?
You want to? You really want to?
Oh, yes. Today? Now.
Take it then.
I may open it?
Open it, read it.
Goodbye, Roxana. Well, this is the last time I shall be able to write.
Aloud?
I have to die sometime today. Oh, my beloved, how heavy my heart is. And it is heavy, too, with so heavy a burden of love, still unspoken, unexpressed, perhaps unguessed at, unprospected gold from love's new world. Not to be mined now, for the time of its shining forth is all gone. Nevermore shall my eyes kiss the sight of you, or the flight of your gestures. I think of one now, the way you have pushing back a strand of hair from your forehead with that silver hand, and my heart wants to cry out.
You read it in such a way,
But now I can only cry goodbye, my dearest.
in such a voice,
Goodbye, my angel, my heart's treasure, my one love.
a voice that I know I'm not hearing for the first time, speaking such words.
Never for 1 second has my heart been absent from your presence. And now as the night deepens and the shadows of the next world begin to close in on me, I shall be that one whose love, raging and blessing like the sun that outlives all men, will live on and on beyond the sun's limits.
How can you possibly read now in this lack of light? For all of 14 years, you have played the role of the old friend, affectionate, droll, but never one hint.
Roxana.
So it was you.
Oh, no, Roxana, no.
I might have known it was you.
Not I.
Every
Oh, no.
time you spoke my name,
Roxana, upon my honor.
it
I
was
swear.
you. I see through it all now. The generous imposture, the letters. It was you.
No.
It was always you, the mad, dear, foolish word.
No.
The voice in the night. You.
Roxana, I swear.
It was all and always you.
I never loved you.
You loved me.
It was he who loved you.
Even now you love me.
No.
That no was not so strong as it was a second or two ago.
No, my dear love. I never loved you.
And for these long 14 years, while you stayed silent, you knew that it was his letter stained by your tears,
But
not
his blood, though. Stained by his blood.
You never said. You never hinted. Never once. Why do you break the silence now?
Because
How could you be so... He's here!
Thank God.
Yes, indeed. I am here.
Madam, you ought to know he's killed himself to come see you.
Oh my God. That faintness. I wondered.
I regret that I so rudely intermitted my gazette. On Saturday, the 26th, about 1 hour before dinner, Monsieur de Bergerac was most foully, ignobly murdered.
Oh,
Cyrano!
no.
What have they done to you?
At Arras, I said that I wanted to depart this world with honorable steel piercing my heart and a piercing epigram on my lips, huh? That's what I said. Oh, but look at me. Ambushed. Taken in the rear in a gutter for a battlefield. My heroic foe, a scullion, and his weapon, a mere firelog. My life has played a consistent tune. I have missed everything, even my death.
Oh, monsieur.
Don't blubber, Ragueneau, my fellow poet. Poets must be dry-eyed. Now, cease your sobs and tell me what you are writing these days.
Nothing. All I do is odd menial jobs for Molière.
Oh, Molière.
I'm going to leave that swine tomorrow. Yesterday they played Scapani's new comedy. He's stolen a whole scene from you.
The one with the immortal line, Que diable est-il faire en cette galère?
I could murder him.
Well, if a poet has taste, he can best show it by stealing from his betters. I gather his play is a success.
Your scene was a success. The audience laughed and laughed and laughed.
My life, all of a piece. A shaft of sun, a puff of air, and then not even a memory. Roxana, do you remember that night, the ivied wall, Christian. I stood in the shadows underneath, and I left it to another to climb up and claim the kiss of glory. It happened again and again. The shadows for me, and for others the applause and the fame. There is a kind of justice somewhere. Even in the teeth of what is to come, I can say, gentlemen, take this commonplace down for your truism books. Huh? Molière has genius. Christian has good looks. And they're going to pray. Nymphs and Diorisons, etc., etc.
Sister! Sister!
Wait, no, don't go. I may not be here when you come back. A little defunctive music. That's all I need now.
You must live. I love you.
Oh, don't say that. That doesn't come into the story. When the princess said, I love you to the enchanted prince who was a toad or something, and all of his ugliness melted away in the sunlight of those words. Your magic, it doesn't work. Love, you say, but look at me, I am still the same.
How can I ever forgive myself? It's I who have done this to you.
Oh, no. Let no shred of blame attach to yourselves. I never had much acquaintance with the sweetness of woman. My mother was, understandably perhaps, disappointed with what she had produced. I had no sister. And later in manhood, I learned to fear the mistress with the mockery in the tail of her eye. But I have had, and God bless you for this, forever and ever, one friend different from those few others. A beautiful friend in the silken gown in my life.
There's another friend.
I see her.
I've never loved but once, and now I must lose twice.
Philosopher and scientist, poet, musician, duelist, a man whose wit kept to a charted track, but oh, it sped at a great pace. A lover, too. He seemed to lack the luck and love of other men. Here lies Hercule Savigny de Cyrano de person. To leave you.
Oh.
Sorry, I can't stay. That lunar shaft is waiting to carry me away.
No.
I would not have you mourn any the less that good, brave Christian, blessed with handsomeness. As the ultimate cold sniffs at my heart and licks at my bones, perhaps you will lend a double sense to your long obsequies? And make those tears that once were wholly his, mine too. Just a little mine, just a little.
My love, my only love.
Well, no, not like this. Not here, not lying down. Let none of you help me. He comes. Already I feel myself being shod in marble and gloved in lead. Let him come then. He shall find me on my feet and my sword in my hand.
Cyrano.
Who are you? All my old enemies.
Your friend.
100 against... Oh, no, 1,000. All of my old enemies. And I recognize every one of you. There's falsehood and compromise and prejudice and cowardice. You ask for my surrender? Oh, no, never. Are you there too, stupidity? You, above all the others, were perhaps destined to get me in the end. But I will fight on. I will fight on. Fight!
Oh!
But in spite of you, there is one thing that goes with me when I go to my final lodging. A thing unstained, unbroken by the brute broken nails of the world. A thing by death, by doom unfingered. You see it there? A white plume over the battlefield. A diamond in the ash of the ultimate combustion. My panache.